Before I get started, please, I'm going to ask 2 or 3 times over the course of this video. Please do not go over to this man's video and give him any views. Please don't. This thumbnail was posted in the Lies subreddit. He titled this video, "Men Are Leaving Society and Women Are Scared." Whoever posted this used life changing as a flare, and it definitely got me giggling. But please, once again, do not go give this man any views. I didn't know anything about the Lies subreddit until this morning. So this is definitely funny for me. The sarcasm is amazing. If you like sarcasm, you're in the right place. So this person says, "Yep, I'm leaving. Bye." Walks away from society. And then the OP was like, "Okay, that's it. I'm scared." And then he's like, "I'm leaving to be scared that I'm leave society." I don't know what is going on. Are they like misspelling words? I think they're spelling words like AI spell words. This person says, "Okay, that's it. I'm scared." Hidden Pants says, "I live in I don't know, something else, I guess." AJ says, "We live in the woods." Raggedy Men says, "I live in the sewer." This person, Kit, says, "Got any pizza to share?" Kato Hayes says, "It's true. I'm writing this from a distant village somewhere in Serbia without any connection to the outer world." Ninjish says, "Rookie, I'm in Antarctica. This comment was pre-written and is being posted by a bot because I have no internet connection or any other connection to the outside world." Inu Shib says, "Hi, amateur. I'm on Mars." Ninjish says, "Well, say hi to Elon Musk for me." And Inu Shib says, "I don't associate with him." Now, I can be a jerk sometimes, says, "I told my wife I was leaving society and she wasn't scared at all. In fact, she seemed elated. I then explained to her that that meant I was leaving her as well, since she is part of society. Still, she wasn't scared. She seemed almost happy as she began packing my suitcase. I can't tell if she really isn't scared or if she's putting on a brave face. I'm going to see if she wants to fool around one last time before I leave." Okay, that was a no. She's bagging up the rest of my belongings for a donation. This certainly didn't go how I expected it to. And then the OP says, "Oh, trust me, dude, that was a brave face. She's definitely terrified." Cheese as well says, "She isn't scared. She's packing her bags and she's elated. That only means one thing. She's a man." Now I'm at this man's page. Please do not go watch any of these videos. Don't give him any views. But he keeps using these same like doom and gloom type of things. 2 videos, when I type in "women are scared that men are leaving society," 2 different videos came up, one from 3 days ago, one from 7 months ago. The one that I'm talking about right now had 2 women talking, and that was enough for him to decide that women are scared. I happen to have two big networks. I have a YouTube community, I have a TikTok community, both well over 50,000 people, mostly women, and I am not seeing women being scared that men are going their own way, because these men that are going their own way never typically stay their own way. They do still end up popping up in our comment sections talking about how they're going their own way. And we do wish that they would go their own way quieter, but they're not. He had more videos talking about men are leaving society and women are scared. This one, you can't see the thumbnail, but this one was from 3 months ago. And then you got another one down at the bottom. He keeps using this whole doom and gloom, and men are watching these things and just commenting. We all know, we women know that feminism is the bane of their existence. Feminism destroyed everything, like John Smith says. Feminism destroyed everything. Women getting rights, women getting the right to vote, despite the fact that we're human adults and we shouldn't have had our rights restricted strictly because we were born women. The fact that we actually demanded some rights gets to irrationally angry. Stark Industry says, "The women in these clips are making excuses and justifications for their awful behaviors and attitudes. Give them nothing. Let them earn your respect." I don't know how that's going to happen because these men have left society. So these poor women will just be distraught forever. Okay. Um, this man says, don't approach us any day of the week ending in day. Okay. It's going to be hard, but I will try to stay away. This person says, what this woman is saying is trash. I know even homeless women with high expectations. This person is quoting Al Bundy. Al Bundy, the character, but Al Bundy says, you can either love them or understand them, not both. Women understand women and they hate each other. The whole women hate each other thing is so strange because I happen to have a network full of women and we get along fine. I don't hate y'all. You guys are great. Han says, we want more, give less. No thanks. Millhouse needs to get his passport and a one-way ticket out of Springfield to more fertile shores. I don't know what this is about. This person says, if I have to spend money to spend time with you, then you're a professional. And honestly, they really need to skip the platitudes of dating. Just leave society, skip the platitudes of dating, and invest in a fleshlight or a robot or a doll or whatever they get. Just do that and then just continue to leave adult human women alone. This person, that one guy, says, if divorce happens to me, I would leave $1 to my now ex-wife and everything else to my brothers in my will, and I delete myself. Ain't no way she's going to get my house and my stuff and not let me see my kids. I don't know if this person is actually married and this is just a hypothetical ex-wife. I don't know, but that seems kind of weird. This person at the bottom. More and more, the women making these videos sound like the teacher in those old Charlie Brown specials. Wah, 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 wah. Okay, so they use two women, and then these two women become the jump off for all women in society are scared. We're just like, oh my God, where are they going to go? And then we as women are looking around like, oh my God, can you go away a little bit more silent? But once again, ladies, as much as I know that you are scared and sad and want to go plead with these men to not leave society, please don't go to this man's YouTube page and give him any views. Do not go to implore the men to stick and stay around. Just don't do it. Let's try to comfort each other in the comment section. We're going to be okay. We are going to be okay. We will have to like band together. We'll have to come up with some strategies. You know, they're going their own way. Gosh. So what can we do to comfort each other? Oh my gosh, ladies, I am very, very sad. Please come over and give some words of encouragement. But once again, I'm gonna say it again. Please don't go to this man's video. Don't give him any views. Join the conversation though here on my spot in my comment section. Let's talk about it. Let's commiserate together. Like, comment, and share. A woman made this post in the relationship advice subreddit. She says, husband doesn't consider anyone but himself in situations and is starting to make me hate him. Is there any recourse? They're both 28. She says, husband doesn't consider anyone but himself in situations and is starting to make me hate him. That right there is enough to leave somebody. But let's look at the post. This post could be triggering for some people. Please keep that in mind. She's going to talk about different uncomfortable situations that are actual. She says, I have started not being able to stand my husband for the last few months. I feel like he doesn't think about anything but himself in situations and gets upset when you bring it up. And it's really starting to bother me. We have been together 8 years, married for 6, no children. For example, our hose recently burst a leak in our in our basement, lightly flooded. It was not the entire basement, but it was mildly concentrated to the area where the hose was outside. When we got home and saw this, I started grabbing towels and soaking up what I could, and then grabbing a mop, wringing it out into the bucket to get what I could. Instead of helping me, he just stood there and watched me as if he was supervising. After some time, I asked him if he was going to just stand there, and he yelled, what the F do you expect me to do? And continued to be hostile towards me. I ended up going to rent a shop vacuum and a giant fan while he just sat on the couch Googling things while I was gone. My mom stopped by to help me and bring me a sump pump just in case I needed it. And he was so angry and rude when she showed up that she just ended up leaving. He told me he was going to call my mom and apologize, and he never did. This really showed me how he would react in an emergency and left a bad taste in my mouth. Fast forward to now. We are on vacation roughly 3 weeks after the flooding, which has been planned for some time and I thought would alleviate some of the stress in our lives. I don't know what I was thinking because it's genuinely done the opposite. We are in another country, and the moment he touched down, he kept saying how he is going to F me and asked multiple times if we can have X. I told him we just traveled for so many hours and I have been awake for like 24 hours and I'm jet lagged. But if he can stop asking and just let us enjoy ourselves, I'll feel up to it. He probably asked me 5 more times after that, and I told him that begging like a teenage boy doesn't make me want to at all, and he agreed to stop. We go out on the town and he is racing ahead of me at every turn. And it genuinely looks like we're not even together, while couples around us are holding hands and taking in the sights. I told him that it makes me feel embarrassed that he keeps racing ahead of me and he keeps saying, "Sorry, I just want to get there," or "Sorry, I'm hungry," or "Sorry, you're just walking too slow," and kind of being annoyed that I would be upset by that. Then we go for a hike, and it opened up to genuinely the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen in my life. And he looks at me and goes, "This would be a great place for a BJ." This was my final straw, and I just broke down and started crying. I was SA'd as a child, so being constantly battered with sexual remarks makes me feel like I have no control over my own body and sexuality, and it brings me right back to that place. I told him this and have told him this countless times, and he told me he was just joking and is sorry and it won't happen again. We go back and forth a bit more, and I don't want my vacation ruined as I've always dreamed of coming to this country, so I move on and try to enjoy my trip. Things are going okay for the rest of the trip. He did leave me alone, actually, for a while, but the last 2 days he kept going back at it like, "Just lay on your back and relax." Ugh. Or every time I will walk by, he would say he's addicted to my body while grabbing his peen and saying, "Oh, baby, I want you back." All of this stuff. It is nice that someone feels that way about me, but it's also so overwhelming when it's nonstop and genuinely makes me want to smash a glass vase over my head that hopefully gouges my eyes and ears out so I don't have to hear it anymore. Now, that right there, when you type something like that, that's a pretty good indication that you no longer should be in this relationship because that was kind of dramatic right there. I do want to let y'all know that a lot of times when I'm taking these screenshots, I'm skimming the post. And most of the time, I'm reading it for the first time as I'm reading it to you. So I hadn't seen that part. She says, "I was so thankful that I finally got my period so that way he would just leave me alone. However, he just went on about how engorged my boobs are instead. When I tell him it makes me feel like a piece of meat, he instead gets upset at me and says, "Oh, stop. Obviously, I don't feel like you're a piece of meat." Okay, sure. Now, this right here is Darvo. He is denying that he's doing anything. And then he is a reverse victim offender. He is like, "Oh my gosh, what are you talking about? How dare you say these things about me?" He becomes upset that she is upset. This is what Darvo is. Darvo is when the person that is doing things gets offended that you're offended and then tries to make it like he is now the victim. Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim offender. Now we are at the airport and we go get food before the flight and he orders his food. When the lady asks if there's anything else and I start speaking, he speaks over me and goes, "Nothing else." He pays and then looks at me and goes, "Oh, I forgot you. You had to get food too." And I was like, "Yeah, that was kind of rude." And he genuinely gets upset and goes, "Oh, calm down. You can still just order and pay." And it's not about that. It's about the literal lack of thinking about me and my feelings in any situation and thinking of just himself. Like he genuinely is incapable of seeing past himself unless someone points it out. And while we're sitting and eating, I try showing him something I like that I saw on my phone, and he just takes a quick glance at it and goes back to what he's doing and dismisses me. Then, when he sees I'm upset, he starts to apologize and say he doesn't mean it and is sorry about ordering and paying for food and that he didn't even realize and that it won't happen again. Like I haven't heard this before. And I'm trying to figure out why she keeps trying. Why does she keep trying to get his attention? And he obviously doesn't care. Like, why do you keep putting yourself through this? She says, has anyone else dealt with this? I know a lot of people are thinking, why are you still with him? And there are genuinely a lot of fun and sweet moments we've had together, but the years of constant actualization and lack of consideration for me are starting to take a toll on me. I'm curious if anyone else has been in a relationship like this and if there was any recourse for you besides divorce. We just bought a house together and I'm in school and working full time. So thinking about separating makes me want to puke with the stress. But honestly, so does the stress of being in a situation like this. Writing it all out, the answer seems obvious, but I would still like to hear if someone else has been with someone similar. So many of these men simply don't deserve companionship, they don't deserve friendship, and they don't deserve to be married to someone who keeps trying. This man deserves a divorce, and that's it. But you guys can weigh in. I am going to look at some of these comments. Few Code says, hard to understand why you have only discovered this annoys you now. It's patently not acceptable behavior. The OP says, I get what you mean. We've been together since we were 19, and he was my first boyfriend. I think a mix of just not knowing how to be treated in a relationship, going through the motions of life, and not slowing down to see things aren't okay. I've been really stressed lately with work, school, and issues in my immediate family that this, on top of everything, has become too much for me to handle. I think I was on autopilot or survival mode for a while, and I'm finally stepping back to see this isn't okay. Okay, Astronaut says, I think when people get together as teenagers, there can be an arrested development. He actually sounds like he's still behaving like an idiot teenager while you've been adulting. It's not your responsibility to make him grow up, but imagine dealing with this when you're 50. Yikes. I'm going to leave it there. You guys go ahead and weigh in. I've already said what I thought, that she just needs to walk away from this. This is not going to get better. He's going to continue this cycle. If she stays, she'll put up with it for a little while. He'll throw her some crumbs and change for a day and then go right back to treating her like this. Anyways, y'all join the conversation. Tell me what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So this was posted in the Bourbon Bougie subreddit. Nefariousness Low says, good men who are silent. She used the flare a cautionary tale. She says, I recently had a conversation with my father about some political stuff, and we got to talking about how certain countries in the East are. He's always been a great guy to me, a real good man, the type of guy that would be more of a girl dad. But I remember he would play dolls with me and do my hair and all that. But then I mentioned the statistics of abuse against women in other countries. How many child girls worldwide are forced into marriage by their parents, and bring up 4 news stories. That's when he shuts down completely and just goes, this blank look on his face like he doesn't care. He looked like I'd said something very inappropriate he didn't want to hear. He then cut me off to change the topic completely. I was flabbergasted. This man, a positive male role model in my life who I assumed would be aggressive towards the idea of misogyny, gets uncomfortable when confronted with it. He won't even address it. I just wanted to open the discussion as to why many good men with daughters and wives and nieces say they would unalive and die for tend to get quiet when the idea of other men abusing their women or daughters come up. They may make offhand remarks about how if anyone did that to my wife, daughter, etc., but seem to care very little if it's actually happening to another man's daughter. It makes me depressed to think about. I just don't get it. It sucks to realize that maybe even the best of men wouldn't get upset at the idea of a child somewhere being abused because that child isn't theirs. Does anyone else relate to this type of kind of convo? This is the reason why women are the real protectors and providers, because this kind of thing, as I share more and more stories about what women and girls are going through globally, it riles us up. Many of us don't know what we can do. But we can share the stories. We can talk about these things. We could try to see if it can gain enough traction and push these governments, these people to do better for the women in these other countries. We care. We have empathy. We know and understand that being a woman in certain places is a very precarious and dangerous thing and something that we can't even control. It is challenging when you know that somebody that you love doesn't give a either way and would probably watch somebody being harmed right over there and do absolutely nothing. Let's get into a few of these comments. 81Z83RR7 says, and this is why it's all men, because they are all complicit. Objective Twist says, this is what pisses me off the most, the passive good men. Sure Dingo says, they are all complicit. 4B Forever says, and yeah, my last boyfriend had a daughter who he claimed he would do anything for, except he won't get a job and pay child support so she can eat. I mean, her mom takes great care of her, so she's not starving, but he doesn't know that because he's not very involved because of Adderall and alcohol are more important. So, yeah, I know lots of guys who talk a good game about their daughters, but when it comes to getting up every morning and getting ready and going to work and getting a paycheck, that's not on the table. They'll jump at the opportunity for justified violence, but the day to day stuff that needs to be done for their daughters to have a good life, they're not going to do that. Pineapple Sunflower says, I do anything for love, but I won't do that. Okay, just a little chuckle to throw in on a very serious topic. Tutti Frutti says, I'm really starting to believe that the majority of men just don't have a high capacity for empathy, especially for women and girls. A lot of people have the not my life, not my problem mentality regarding others' suffering, but I've seen the most in men. Men will say it's not all men, or I would never do something like that, in response to women discussing their issues and expressing caution of or disdain for men. But those same men don't particularly care enough that these issues are happening and or have no real desire to put an end to them. And that's part of the problem. And while they may claim they would never do such a thing, many of them still get off to the idea of rape or sleeping with teenagers or children and see no problem with that as long as they aren't actually doing it. I can't imagine how that wouldn't desensitize someone to those issues. They'd be too occupied getting aroused every time someone brings them up. So, with that, I am going to stop that there. I do want you guys to join the conversation. Hopefully, this discussion will open up your eyes and why it's important to stop saying not all men. Because if they are complicit and don't give if women and girls are being hurt, then they're still kind of part of the problem, unfortunately. And it does suck to say that. All right, join the conversation, like, comment, and share.